Alright, so we are back with another bullet review. This is a bullet review that I've been excited to do for the past couple of weeks. I typically enjoy doing bullet reviews. I like getting a new bullet in, working up a load, taking that out, testing it at distance, and collecting data and then putting that all together in a review. But this is a bullet that I have been excited about pretty much from the beginning. So let's get into the nuts and bolts of this. This is the 110 grain Sierra Match King. It is obviously a 6mm 243 caliber bullet. It is Sierra's heaviest bullet in the 6mm caliber. This thing has a sectional density of .266. It has a length of 1.34 inches, which is actually the same length as the 185 RDF. So, the 115 RDF. So this thing is 5 grains lighter, but still the same length. So that should tell you something right out of the gate. This thing has a recommended twist rate of 1 in 7, which is something we will talk about here in a minute, because I've been stabilizing this in this. And you guys typically know my 6mm platform here is the 28-inch 6 Creed, and I run a 1 in 8 and have had no problem stabilizing these. So this thing has, and something that Sierra does that I really wish that all bullet companies would do. This thing has 3 different advertised BCs. Now, they only give you the G1 BCs. I wish they would also give you a G7, but either way, they give you 3 different G1 BCs for different velocity ranges, which is something that is outstanding, and as far from what I have seen, is unique to some of these Sierra Match Kings. So they give you the 2,600 feet per second and above BC of a G1 BC of .617. Then 2,600 feet to 1,900 feet per second, they give you a .605. And then from 1,900 feet per second and under, a .580. So, like I said, I really wish all bullet companies would do that. I think by these numbers, my true results were very close to how this lined up. Now, I true my bullets something a little bit different than using these types of velocity numbers. I typically, with these 6mm, I try to do from 600 to 1,300 yards and use that true number as what I give you guys, because that typically puts us out to the beginnings of transonic. So my from 600 to 1,300 yard true result is a .591. Now, if you look at that 600 to 1,300 yards is from 2,300 feet per second at 600 yards down to 1,500 feet per second at 1,300 yards. So that is actually putting you right in the middle of that .605 from 2,600 down to .581 at 1,900. That's putting you right in the middle. My .591 puts you right in the middle of that result that Sierra gets, and is lining up, if you put it all on a data line, lining up right along with the trend of Sierra's ballistic coefficient. So their ballistic coefficients, now they don't actually give a ballistic coefficient on the box, but if you were to go to their website and look up the bullet that you're shooting, they have these 3 ballistic coefficients referenced, and you could actually pretty much use those, plug them into your ballistic calculator, and be off and running at whatever distance those velocities line up with for your rifle. So my G7, they don't give a G7 ballistic coefficient. Like I said, I wish they did. My true G7 ballistic coefficient for the from 2,300 feet per second down to 1,500 or 600 yards to 1,300 yards is a .303, and my G7 beyond transonic, so my subsonic BC is only a .005 difference at .298. So an extremely small change going all the way out into subsonic. So that is something that, especially shooting this through a 1 in 8 twist, that absolutely amazed me, because I was expecting them to possibly fall apart going out beyond transonic because of the lower stability factor that they're starting out with, especially being a full inch of twist too slow. So really surprised that they stabilized, and not only did they stabilize, they flew so true that I barely had to change my ballistic coefficient. So this thing, the ogive on this is something that really jacks up the ballistic coefficient as far as raises the ballistic coefficient. So the ogive on these 110 Match Kings here takes up almost half, if not over half, of the bullet. So obviously that gives it a very sleek ogive, and because that ogive is so long, that is typically why they recommend the 1-in-7 twist. That puts the center of pressure and the center of gravity so far back that you typically should need a faster twist rate to stabilize it, with that center of pressure being so far back. So it's really amazing that it is stabilized so well in this 1-in-8. I was actually almost expecting it to fall apart going through the transonic barrier, and to my surprise, it kept going at almost the same ballistic drop. So very impressed. So the me-plat of the 110 Match King here is it's actually a very fine tipped me-plat, and if you look on their website, they actually go through the extra process of tipping these bullets. So if you're somebody who tips your bullets with these 110 Match Kings, you don't actually have to go through that process of tipping them, because it is already done at the factory. From what I have ran across, they have all been very uniform. I have not found hardly any difference in what tipping the bullet does. Not only does it add a little bit of ballistic coefficient, but it uniforms the ballistic coefficient and makes it so that you're getting the same ballistic coefficient across all the bullets that you're shooting from the 110 Match Kings. The bearing surface, obviously with the extremely long ogive that you have, it has a fairly short bearing surface. So, and something else that they've done that is really special, and from what I've seen fairly unique to the Sierra bullets here, or this type of Sierra Match King, I've seen it in a couple of the other Match Kings, is the transition from the bearing surface to the ogive. They have a 1.5 degree angle that slowly angles down into the beginning of the ogive, and what that does is that matches up with typically if you have a match chambering, it has that 1.5 degree angle to help the bullet get itself centered going down the barrel. So by Sierra actually being slick enough to go ahead and give this that 1.5 degree angle, it not only matches up with match chamberings, but it goes a long way to help center itself and make each bullet start off perfectly straight down the barrel, also giving you that extra bit of stability and also starting you off completely consistent. So this thing also has a boat tail that is fairly a typical length of a boat tail. It's not an extremely long boat tail, but it's definitely not a short boat tail, and it is right about the same angle as the ogive, which is what you typically see in match bullets. So the cost, if you are looking to buy just a box of 100 Sierra Match King 110 Match Kings here, you can find them anywhere between $32 to $40 per 100. If you're looking to buy a box of 100, that product number is 1575, so you should be able to punch that number into any of the Mid-Souths, the Midways, or wherever you buy your reloading supplies, and they should pop right up as if they carry the 110 Match King. So if you want to shoot the 110 Match King, there are no factory ammo offerings that contain the 110 Match King, so you have to be a hand loader to be shooting the 110 Match King, and it is a bullet that I would highly recommend. Like I said, this is a bullet that I was leery about even buying this bullet because I like the 1-in-8 twist. I was skeptical with the center of pressure being so far back and starting off at a lower stability factor, whether I was going to even be able to stabilize these from a 1-in-8 twist. And not only did they stabilize, but they consistently started off grouping a 1/4 inch. Now I did find these to be fairly jump sensitive, so the jump that I found that they like the best is between 15 and 20 thousandths jump. So that may be a good starting spot for you if you are planning to work up a load with the 110 Match King. But like I said, this bullet defies logic. Not only did it stabilize from a 1-in-8 twist, but it broke through the transonic barrier with almost no change to its trajectory. When I did the 1970 yard shot with the 110 Match King. I used the same BC that I use for the 600 to 1300 yards. Now, I did have to add 0.2 of a mil to that to line up to waterline, but that is almost nothing in comparison to what a lot of the other bullets go through when they transition through transonic, and that goes for even bullets that that typically stabilize in a 1 and 8. So very surprised. Like I said, this thing defies logic. I did not expect it to. I expected this to more than likely fall apart going through transonic, and not only did it not, like I said, it maintained its trajectory. Now, I will say, when I did the 2,060 yard shot, it did actually lose some more BC going out to those distances, but it was still not a large amount. So once it went beyond that 2,000 yard mark, I noticed it was dropping quite a bit faster, but still would the 0.28 that you get for their lower BC number would probably have got me lined up just right. So like I said, very impressed with the 110 Match King. Probably out of all the bullets I've tested, not only did it surprise me the most, but it has become very quickly probably my favorite 6mm bullet. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys are looking for a new bullet to load in your 6 Creed or your 6 SOM, or your 6 XC or whatever other 6mm calibers you're running. Maybe you want to take a look at the 110 Match King. So I hope this is helpful. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.